this is Adam Boyce, and today I'm going to be sharing my review of the Janisong by Spyderco.
Here it is, the Spyderco Janisong, designed by none other than Michael Janich. I'm really excited about this blade, and if you stick around and listen to the 2 interviews I have with Michael Janich, you'll see why. I've had much respect for Michael Janich for a number of years and started training with him in 2016 to eventually become one of his fully certified instructors in martial blade concepts. But enough about me, let's get back to the Janisong. First, let's talk about the specifications of the blade. After that, I have 2 interviews, one I did with Janich a number of years ago, and the second by my friend Jason Fleming. The overall length of the blade is 8.24 inches, the blade length is 3.28, blade thickness is 0.12, and the blade material is CPM S30V. We could talk about the specifications all day, but I find it much more interesting to hear from Michael Janich himself. Next, we have an interview I did with him a number of years ago.
Like a balisong, what you've got is 2 handles. The handles rotate in opposite directions, essentially, and they lock the blade in the open position. So what you have is the handle comes around this way, picks up the blade, and then closes it in this way. Typically with a balisong, you're going to have the handles side by side, and I played with balisongs a lot, played with them for years, and what you find is when you make mistakes with a balisong and you grab the wrong handle, what's called the bite handle, that's when you get cut. So what I was trying to do was design a better balisong initially. I wanted to have the safe handle, the one that you want to hold on to be more prominent. And as the design evolved, what I did with the lock mechanism is actually inspired by a berry wood folding knife. And what you've got is the ability now to move the knife so that the only 2 things that can touch you are the back of the inside handle or the back of the blade. As long as you grip the outer handle, which is you have to do by default, there's no way that you could inadvertently get cut because there's no way to orient your hand with the edge. So the idea was to make a safer balisong. Ultimately, what it came out to be was a totally new design. One of the other things with a traditional balisong is the latch. If you had a latch mechanism, it was located on the butt end of the handle. So what you had to do was kind of use your pinky to release the latch, or if in reverse grip, you'd have to use your thumb. But trying to re-engage that was really difficult. So here we have instead, there are sliding buttons. So you have a button on each side of the handle here. There's a bar that goes underneath, and then what you have is maybe a little hard to see, but they're connected by a barrel bolt at the end, and that fits into a notch at the end of the handle here. So essentially, once you close this, you slide that forward, it locks the handles together. You slide that back, and it releases the handles. So now when you open the knife, if you want to latch it mechanically, all you have to do is slide that forward. It's always located right under your thumb and index finger. So you release that, work the knife, re-engage it anytime you want. It just makes it a lot more ergonomically friendly. So it gives you essentially a lot of the benefits of a balisong. Because the handle's a little bit larger, you can't do all the twirls and everything else, but it's certainly, as far as the speed of being able to get it open with the basic combative openings that you find with Filipino balisong work, it works really well.
This is actually a knife that I designed, came up with a design in 2006. It was patented in 2008. I ended up buying the patent, selling it to Spyderco. This is called a Janisong. So Jana, like my last name, Janich, song like balisong. And basically what this is, the idea that I had was with a typical butterfly knife, you have what's called the safe handle, the one that's good to hang on to, and you have the free handle, or what's sometimes called the bite handle. If you grip the wrong handle, that's when you get cut. So what I did was I designed this knife so that the safe handle is on the outside. I put the free handle or the bite handle on the inside, so you really can't grip this without really making a conscious effort. So by gripping this by the safe handle, the only thing that can touch me is the back of the blade or the other handle. And what this allows me to do is to open the knife like you would a balisong, but there's no way, again, that I could ever get it to the point where I could get my fingers between the sharpened edge and that other handle. The entire lock mechanism is built into the pivot pin area. So as you start to open it, what will happen is this opens 180 degrees, picks up that blade, brings it around to here, and as long as you hold the handles together, the blade is locked securely. To latch the 2 together, it has a sliding button on each side, and this is placed right under your thumb and index finger. So when you have that normal grip, it just allows you to slide that forward or slide it back. And those are connected by this barrel bolt at the very end here. So you can see as I move that forward and back, that barrel bolt moves.
Oh yeah.
And that barrel bolt indexes into that notch. So when it comes to securing the knife together, simply slide that forward. It secures the two handles together, and now you can use the knife like a normal knife. When you close the knife, again, you engage that latch. It secures the handle halves together. Carries nicely in the pocket. Has a reversible deep pocket carry clip, so left or right side. It is actually set up for 4 position, but if you do 4 position, it negates the use of the latch. So it really is functionally only tip-up carry left or right side. And what's interesting about it also, if you've ever played with a balisong and you've inadvertently had the latch get caught between the handles, with this, the way it's designed is even if this is engaged, all I have to do is squeeze the handles together, and the curve of the handle here resets the latch automatically. So there's no way that it's going to get snagged. Now, the interesting thing about this knife, Spyderco produced it, and for the past several years, this has been the only knife that we could not legally import into the U.S. So it's manufactured in Taiwan, and any of our foreign customers who wanted to purchase it, we drop shipped it to them. Because of U.S. laws, because of the customs interpretation of the U.S. federal switchblade law, couldn't be legally imported. Well, the climate has changed. You see a lot of gravity knives being imported. You see a lot of automatics being imported.
Oh, yeah.
And essentially, the government has decided they're not going to enforce that aspect of the customs law. So Spyderco conferred with their attorneys. Our attorneys basically said, hey, we're good to go. We brought in 1,200 pieces of this, and we're going to start selling these into the U.S. market for the first time. So even though this knife has existed for several years, it's never been commercially available in the U.S. until now.